2000 radio.
This is another shoot notes. So jumping in real fast. This set of photos, I want to call it 30 minutes to rain because as the title suggests, we only shot for about 30 minutes before we got rained out. So here's actually the template that I use for all my posts online. And this one specifically is a little bit more taller. That's just the format that I want to go for these photos specifically. You know, a lot of vertical real estate on the phone. I think that's really important. And, you know, we have different crops, different layouts. I love showing, you know, as much detail as I can with the photos because Instagram, just seeing a photo on a screen is so limiting in general. So I feel like this, you know, blueprint template allows me to accentuate my photos or whatever visual I'm trying to show the best we possibly can, right? And get the most detail out of each image. In Lightroom, your full photo, you can zoom all the way in and you're gonna get all of that detail. That's not the case on Instagram. So what this does is it helps me find that kind of middle ground. So speaking a little bit to the shoot and how it went, it was actually a little awkward, I can't lie. So this was another shoot with One Management and they got in contact with me, said, hey, you know, we have Lindsay. She's from the West Coast. She needs New York style photographs for her book so she can get booked over here. And what that means essentially is like an agency, a client isn't going to book you if they don't see how you are in a scenario, essentially. So she's not really going to get booked in New York if she doesn't have New York photographs because people need to see evidence of you in that particular setting. So I think it was a little awkward because of the time constraint. It was inevitable that it was going to rain by a certain time. And she ended up being a little late, which is fine. That's completely normal, right? But with her being, you know, from the West Coast, she wasn't used to shooting in this style, right? Like more of a city vibe, more of the essence of, you know, being nonchalant, or it's a different cool factor. Because as you could probably tell, she's like, you know, more of like a swimsuit model or more of like a skincare makeup kind of vibe. Like maybe I think she's done, you know, work with like PacSun. That's a completely different energy that they bring to photo shoots and in that atmosphere. You know, it's more smiles, more bubbles, more sunshine, literally. And this isn't that. So that was one of the challenges in directing her to actually get, you know, what we were both going for, right? Like what we both wanted out of this shoot. And I feel like we were able to get that, which is awesome. I'm really glad, you know, she took the time to shoot with me. But going back to why it was a little bit awkward and why there was like a little hump is because I feel like there was that newness to her mixed in with the time constraint of trying to shoot before the rain. Because as you can see, this is when she first got here. It's already super cloudy. The sun's shining through. But you know, as we scroll through, it just gets darker and darker and darker. And just to show you a little bit of a before and after, which I love to do. So mixing with that and then adding on to my assistant, actually, he was super new. We met on the train, and he basically, long story short, we met on the train. He wants to get more into photography, so I was like, hey, this is a perfect opportunity. Hold a light for me, hold a reflector for me. The lighting setup is super easy. If you don't know, zooming in on someone's eyes is a great way to tell, you know, where the light's coming from on photos. That's how I've studied a lot of photographs and helped me come up with my own lighting plots. So this was executed by like a Rembrandt style. In other words, like a 45-degree angle kind of above her head. 3-foot octagon softbox on my B10 Pro Photo. Super easy, super executable. But so it was my assistant's like literal first time doing something like this. So between, you know, his first time there. I don't know if it was her first time in New York, but her being super new to, the East Coast in this setting with, 30 minutes to the ring coming in, it just created, maybe it was more in my head, but like a mismatch, right? Like we just have to really navigate through it. And the more experience you have, the more tools you have in your belt to do so. But I really think we did ultimately, get that certain type of sexiness and more laid back, owning that photograph that we were going for. And yeah, I'm really happy with that. This is actually like the mood board or shot list, buzzwords that I make real quick for all my photo shoots. So, I'll pop the model in here, and here's the location that we're shooting at. My homie's rooftop. His name is Sai. Super cool dude. Thank you for letting me use your roof. Um, and yeah, so this is the roof, right? Went on Google Earth, blah blah blah, skirted out where we're gonna be. We can either shoot within the fence or on this side, circling where we're gonna be at. There's plenty of room on either side, just kind of promising that, we're not gonna, your model is not gonna fall off and perish. Here's some photos that I shot with Sai too. I ended up sending these to the agency, and I was like, hey, like we could shoot here if you got a model, just let me know. And it just worked out perfectly. And with my references that I show, I always love to have the model kind of immediately next to the pose ideas or the wardrobe references again, because I feel like it's more transferable, it's more translatable, right? Like you can just see it a little bit better. Okay, so she's gonna be doing this, right? Um, so yeah, we just kind of went from there, super straightforward, and on the phone even it's like perfectly vertical. So yeah, I like to keep it as streamlined as possible. Again, this is kind of the layout I'm doing. So as far as the shoot notes go, and the context, I would definitely communicate even more what wardrobe is expected, right? Because you can have things on the mood board, you can talk about it, but even before you shoot again, just making clear, like, hey, do you have a leather jacket? What kind of clothes are you bringing to this? How are we actually going to execute what we want to do here? Just making sure that you're always on the same page as much as you possibly can with whoever it is you're shooting with, right? The clearer communication, the clearer the outcome. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all I got.